Hey, how you doing, guys? The video might look a little different, sound a little different. I was doing some testing on the Canon T3i, so that's where we're actually doing this topic for this topic, I guess you could say. But I've been seeing a lot of things in the tech news, which was kind of very interesting, and this has to do with RED cameras, and there's also another company from the Great Britain, UK, Genie Ltd. Now, Genie Ltd makes third-party SSG MiniMag drives for the RED camera. Now, they've been going on advertising on how many things. They've been kind of exaggerating the problems of the MiniMag drives for the RED cameras being way over expensive. The drive sizes aren't as large as they advertise for RED and things like that. So I kind of wanted to go over some of those things. And really, it shouldn't be any surprise, especially anybody that buys and uses RED cameras on a regular basis. And companies do often overcharge on certain items, especially if they're proprietary, within a certain reason, I think. And give you an example, memory in desktop computers tend to be quite a lot more expensive than if you go out and buy memory yourself and install it yourself. Of course, there's a really big difference between build-it-yourself computer and an OEM that builds it for you, because if you buy a pre-built computer, you're getting the support and other things along with that. Where if you build it yourself, you're going to be, providing your own support. So it's not really surprised that companies may overcharge in certain areas. Memory is one if you have an OEM computer. For example, here's some of the other claims they also made. Here they said it's not made in the USA. Well, I think to really get the Made in the USA label, I think you got to have at least, I can't remember the percentage, I think it's like 90% or something like that, but even if they label it as Made in the USA, a lot of electronic parts are actually made in Asia, because that's where most of the factories are for electronic parts. Capacitors, could be, integrated circuits and so forth. Some are made here, but as far as the packaging, for instance, the MiniMags the RED make has the red aluminum closure. That's probably made here, where the SSD drives are probably made in China or something like that. So that's really tit for tat, and even some of what Genie claims made in the UK, and some is actually made in Asia as well. Another claim that they made that, for instance, their MiniMag, they claim to be, RED's claims to be 512 gigabytes when it's actually 480. That is something not necessarily new as well. There's, of course, this is just not MiniMags. There's a lot of storage devices where you may not get 100% capacity. For instance, I'll give you another example, desktop PCs, where you got to take into account, for instance, a 1 gigabyte drive. You're going to be in, of course, the installed operating system, the pre-installed applications. Often they have a hidden recovery partition on that hard drive, which has an additional backup copy of that operating system that if in case you have to reinstall. So then it probably knocks it down to maybe 950 gigabytes, or I'm off the top of my head, instead of 1 terabyte hard drive. Of course, cell phones, tablets is another thing. You have pre-installed operating system and applications. So that's really tit for tat as well. Now, they also claim that it's not custom firmware, which I kind of tend to agree from what I read. Now, if you put in a third-party proprietary SSD drive, then it may not be to be able to run at full speed. Now, I think RED claims as well that they do a lot of testing to ensure the SSD works with it, which they may do, but still, I don't think that would add for the cost of the SSD drive. And let me see if I got everything in here. But it really, if you think about it, Red Camera, its entire ecosystem is expensive anyway. I mean, most people who used it on a day-to-day basis realize this. In fact, when you buy the Red Camera, all you are is getting the brain. You're not getting the monitor. Obviously, the lens you have to buy separately. The monitor, the MiniMags, SSD drive storage, audio module separate, handle separate, almost everything else is separate. So you can tack on a third to twice as much you're going to pay for that actual Red Camera. So if you are in the Red ecosystem, you have to realize this as well. In fact, if you're a professional or semi-professional, you really need to do a total cost analysis before you decide on which camera you're going to choose and things like that. I mean, is it proprietary? Can you use third-party accessories? If it's proprietary, how much does it cost? And what is the total cost of running the camera or upgrades for that camera, and so on. That's why I think there are some better options. For instance, Blackmagic Design has some excellent cameras that are often cheaper, and some of them, some certain things are a little bit more expensive than others, maybe even for the Blackmagic Design, but there tends to be very great quality, great picture and things like that for the price. So if you're looking for something like that, you know, check that out. I'm kind of a Canon guy, so for instance, my Canon C100 and my Canon XF100, they use the same charger, they use the same batteries. So that kind of adds to the value of getting both together, for instance. So, of course, a lot of the Canon cameras, once you get everything in one box, it's almost ready to run. In fact, sometimes they even throw in usually they throw in a battery, maybe even a SSD drive or flash card or something like that, and everything's almost ready to go and shoot. So if you're a professional, semi-professional, you need to take the total cost analysis of something like that. So I kind of wanted to give you my thoughts on, you know, this MiniMag thing. It's kind of a squabble between both companies. I'm getting what a lot of people are saying, and this, I mean, I find this kind of strange because this blew up now. I mean, this is, for many people, 5 years out now. We kind of knew that. We knew a lot of the things were, you know, overly priced. But I get it. Some things, you know, probably could be cheaper and things like that. So some things I do fault on the company being overcharged. But then again, you need to do your research, know what you're spending and what for, and things like that. So, well, I want to give you my thoughts on that. Thanks for watching, and see you guys later.